Hey, what's going on, fam? My name is Ricardo Butler, aka Reason Disciple, and I just wanted to get on video real quick. Well, not real quick. I don't know how quick this is gonna be. We're just gonna let the Lord do what He do. Just to share a little bit about my heart, my burden for the music ministry, the music industry, and hip hop culture. That's what I came on here to talk about real quick. Um, I don't know about you, but I know for me, I don't know about everyone else out there who's a music fan, a music lover. I know for me personally, you know, there was I'm old school. I'm 35 years old. I started listening to hip hop um, back in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? And I grew up down here in the Orlando, Florida area, which is kind of confusing for a lot of heads. A lot of cats, they were like, "Yo, where you from?" I said, "You from New York?" I said, "Nah, I'm born and raised down here in the born and raised here in Orlando." So they're kind of weird when they hear me not talk the way people down here talk with the little southern accent. And always tell them the reason why. I said, "Well, the reason why is because in here in Orlando, it's kind of a melting pot, and depending upon what side of town you grow up on, is what's gonna kind of come out in your style and the way you talk. I mean, I was born and raised on the east west side of town, which is Richmond Heights, and if I'd grown up on which is because in where I'm from, that's the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? Had I grown up over there, I mean, I lived over there for a minute. I didn't. It was about a year, and actually when I was a kid, and then when I grew up, fourth grade, went over there, um, and then about stayed over there for a year, and then I came back over there after I got out of prison. Prison, yes, prison. For those who don't know, who's never heard my story before, did some prison time. That's how the Lord actually called me back full steam into this now. You know what I'm saying? So it was that prison time. Because I gave my life to the Lord at a young age, 17. But it was when I got into trouble in my 20s. You know what I'm saying? Wilding out. I was prodigal. I was intentionally running from the will of God, and the Lord, caught me like He did Jonah. That was my belly of the well experience. If you've ever read my testimony, for those who have never read or heard my testimony, the full story, you can go to ricardoequips.com, my website, ricardoequips.com / about Ricardo. Just go to the tab. It says about Ricardo. Click it, and it tells you my whole story and how Christ, I rededicated my life back to Christ and some of the things, that led up to that. What happened when Christ called me, and now the life that I live after Christ. Some of the things that the Lord has done through me in the last 9 years. 9 years. It's been 9 years. Um, yeah, I moved back into that neighborhood, got in some more trouble, and that's when I obviously went to prison. That's not really the reason why I went to prison. Again, if you go there, you hear the testimony, you'll figure out that. But yeah, I'm an old school dude. I grew up on a lot of old school New York stuff. Living on the east side of town, which is Azalea Park. I grew up around a lot of that side of town was mostly Spanish, and the Spanish people over there are there's Cubans, there's Puerto Ricans, there's Mexican. I mean, all kinds of Spanish people over there. So, but the Spanish people over there, they either grew up they either coming from their country, of origin or wherever that is, or they're from Miami, or they're from New York. So you got the Spanish speaking Spanish that just speaking Spanish. And a few English words. Then you got the ones from Miami. They're speaking a little bit more Spanish, and it's like English mix. It's Spanglish, if that's what they call it. And then you got the Spanish people who don't speak no Spanish. I mean, they speak it, but you don't. They speak mostly English. But they're from New York or New Jersey, and they got the up north accent. So again, I grew up hanging around with those guys. And again, also on another flip side, I started listening to music in the '80s, and T.I., Outkast, none of the southern music that's popular down here was even out yet. So I really didn't have that influence of, only southern music that was down here, for those who remember them days, is we had DJ Magic Mike, DJ Last, we had, what's that group? Two Live Crew, Luke Skywalker, we all know Luke. Buddhist, Buddhist, I grew up on that, man. We got, that was what was down here, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't really into the dancing and the booty shaking music, man, you know what I'm saying? So, I had an uncle, his name was Uncle Greg Butler, man. I'm gonna send him this video. He don't even know he had this kind of influence on me. I'm gonna send him this video now that I'm connected with him on MySpace. Greg Butler, man, he used to have these records, man. We had records in 8 tracks. You know, my pops, he had 8 tracks and records. And the first record I ever listened to was Curtis Blow. It was the Curtis Blow record. I had Curtis Blow. I used to sneak in there when my uncle was he's like 10 years older than me. When my uncle was working, I forget what he was doing, but he was doing. I think he was. I'm thinking he was doing freight lining at the time. But he used to have his records, and I sneak in and listen to his records. He had Curtis Blow. I think it was Rock the House by Run DMC, and he had DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Oh my goodness! With parents don't understand, just understand Nightmare on My Street. You know what I'm saying? I grew up on that kind. I was like 8, 9 years old. No, it was about 8, 9 years old. Because it was around the ending years of elementary school when I was in Richmond Heights, and that was the kind of stuff that I grew up on. And again, just moving to the east side of town after we had left the west side of town, you know, that's just what this, all of them dudes over there, the Spanish people over there, they was from New York. I was one of the first black people in that area. So, they was listening to, old school DJ Primo, I say Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. There was, they was listening to that. And Nas, Illmatic, Onyx was out then. This is before Nas. I mean, Wu-Tang, saying when it came around, Daddy Kane, Cool Mo D, LL Cool J, you know what I'm saying? And then I think I was doing poetry in 7th grade. It was around that time I was doing poetry. I used to, I was into poetry. I was always into art, you know what I'm saying? My uncle kind of put me on the music side. And then I had my auntie, his sister, my aunt, Myra Butler. She was into art. She used to draw a lot. So as a kid, I was more into the art of drawing. I did a lot of drawing, which I grew up when, on that side of the Spanish side of town, gangs started influencing the area. So I was kind of like the gang graffiti guy, you know what I'm saying? And for those who know anything about gangs, they have their own alphabet, you know what I'm saying? I was one of the guys who was kind of in charge of putting together alphabets that they would use to tag up walls and stuff like that. So, and that was the kind of thing I was in this, the spray can. I was the spray can guy, so that those were the elements of the negative sides of hip hop that I was kind of involved in, with the gang side and spraying up walls, tagging. I was a drawing. I was in art. My aunt put me onto that. You know what I'm saying? I was in a lot of crafts and building things, out of toilet paper and toothpicks and, and popsicles. We were making Starship Enterprises out of them things. You know what I'm saying? I was just always a creative kind of person. You know what I'm saying? That was just how, back then I didn't see it, but that was just how God had brought me up. That was what God put in me, music and arts. I went into poetry, won a poetry contest. My father helped me out. He showed me how to, bought me a book. He bought me a book from the library. My stepfather, R.E.A.L, Butler, and he brought me this book, and he helped me with it. You know what I'm saying? Showed me how to do how in hip hop we got bars. In poetry is not. I don't know if they call them bars, but it's the way you structure the poem, to where certain words rhyme, and then you might skip a few words and then rhyme the next. That was poetry. That was rap. That was I wasn't into rapping as of yet, but I was very good at poetry. You know what I'm saying? So I was into poetry. You know what I'm saying? As a kid in 7th grade, won some poetry contest. Got my art. I actually did a poem for a contest and had it printed out in a magazine. In this magazine, and small magazine. Not number. I don't even remember the name of the magazine. They're probably big now. I don't remember what it was, but I sent it in and they published it. It was a cool thing, cool experience. Going through high school years. I think it was 1992, 93, New Year's. My boy Luis Maldonado, his Spanish dude, used to hang out. Luis Maldonado and my man Anthony Rivera and it was New Year's. We hang out in Orlando, listen New Year's. He popped in the tape. CDs wasn't out yet. Well, CDs was out. It's just nobody was buying them yet. People wasn't hip to them yet. But my man put in the tape. It was Illmatic, Nas Illmatic, man. It was only about 11 songs, not even 11 because he had like a couple of skits, so it was like literally like 9 songs on it. You know what I'm saying? He put me onto the Illmatic. I listened to the whole Illmatic. I mean, beats. This is the first time I was also exposed heavily to DJ Premier, which is one of my favorite producers of all time, and Nas, who is my favorite rapper of all time. And after I heard that album, I mean, it was a done deal. I was heavy into hip hop, but after I heard the Illmatic album, it was like I was like from that point on, I declared myself a rapper. I hadn't even written a rhyme. You know, I was poetry. I didn't consider that rhyming, but I had, you know, after that, I was captivated. I mean, I truly God used that to put me in music. You know what I'm saying? And so listening to that, I was just awestruck. You know what I'm saying, by the music, the whole sound. Like if a city had a sound, you know what I'm saying. Whenever that album made me think of New York. You know what I'm saying. I've been in New York a couple of times, several times. You know what I'm saying, for some long periods of time. You know what I'm saying. My wife, she lived there for some times. You know, oldest daughter, she was born there. You know what I'm saying. Not my daughter, you know, not her daughter, stepdaughter, which is the oldest, but I still consider her my daughter. Miracle, she was born in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying. I lived a lot of times in Queens for a hot minute. But yeah, you know, it was the Illmatic that kind of pushed me into actually doing it. You know, and you know, I don't know how everyone else, you know, out there, how y'all learn how to rhyme, but because I was so persistent in wanting to learn how to rhyme and learn how to rap and learn how to, you know, spit over beats or whatever or whatnot. What I started doing, this is just, nobody taught me, nobody mentored me, you know, to this. I just, you know, one day I think about that time, around that time, a little bit, few later, my man Method Man came out. He did the Method Man song, the METHOD, man. At the time, I wasn't called Reason. You know what I'm saying? I think about it was about the time that I actually started rapping was about the same time that I actually came to Christ. So, but I was still kind of caught in the streets. So there was elements of Jesus in it, but you know, I was only like 16, 17 years old. So there's like elements of Jesus in it, you know, because I named my rap name first and foremost. My first rap name was Bishop. It was Bishop, you know what I'm saying? The idea was kind of sparked from Tupac, when Tupac called himself Bishop. I think it was in the Juice movie. And another reason why, the second reason out of the 3 reasons that I use it, the second reason I got Bishop from, because I was a heavy into X-Men. I was a heavy cartoon comic fan. I'm probably more heavy into it today than I was back then. I mean, I got all the Marvel movies. I should have went into anime going to Full Sail University. You know what I'm saying? Because now I'm captivated with movies now. I just want to learn this movie process. You know, me and my boy Jay Prodigal, we be talking about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? He's into the anime too, and I mean, him and his wife talk about it for days. I be talking about it. You know, we into that Marvel DC thing. You know what I'm saying? And my man Insight. You know, he's coming out with his own little comic thing with Heaven's Disciples. You know, but yeah, Method Man came out. I was called Bishop. Oh, my bad. The third reason why I called myself Bishop. Second reason was Bishop, the dude from the X-Men. You know, he's a brown, black guy. So I was like, man, I'm calling myself Bishop, black guy. You know, that's cool. And the third reason I call myself Bishop, because Bishop is a pawn piece on the chessboard, but it was also symbolic for the religious man in the church. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I didn't know. I wasn't onto the game of denominations and I just thought all Christians were Christians back then. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know the church was divided as it is. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand that. I just thought all Christians were Christians. And so I picked the name Bishop, you know, because, you know, not knowing the Catholic reason for it, you know what I'm saying? And growing up today, Bishop, that's just biblical, regardless if it's used Catholic or not. That's just there's the fivefold ministry, the apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, teacher, and then there's on the local level, there's the bishops or elders, and then there's the deacons. You know what I'm saying? So that's 7 leaders, leadership roles in the body of Christ. 2 on the local. Two on the local, and 5 that are they're more regional and then spread out, and you know, they travel a lot. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, growing up a little bit more, I was starting to get more heavy into the word, not into the word in the sense. My common sense as a kid, again, I didn't have a church. I didn't have a mentor. My mom didn't force her to go to church. She was my mom was a model of Christ to us. You know what I'm saying? My mom used to take homeless people off the street and literally bring them into the house and bathe them. And there was this dude named Bob. Well, he was on a crutches. He was missing a leg. My wife. My mom used to always talk to him. We were little. We weren't understanding this concept, and she would take us down there and feed the man and give us go give Bob money. Da da da. He would send me out to, so we didn't have church influence. My mom didn't make us go to church. My mom read the Bible to us in the house every Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Little bits here and there. She used to buy the little cheesy Jesus movies, Easter movies, Christmas movies. Those are the kind of things. Those are little seeds that she planted on me. She didn't really force us heavy into it when we were kids. So that was the only influence I technically have. So she took me to the library, or she got books. I think I got hip to Hal Lindsey, and the Left Behind series. I was heavy in the Hal Lindsey stuff, man. My common sense was this: look, I was thinking, okay, this is the end time, so let me start at the end. I skipped the Gospels. I just wanted to know about end time stuff. So I missed the whole point, and that was the reason why I went prodigal, because I missed the whole love of Jesus, the love of Christ, and why he even came. I missed all that. I just went to the end of the book. I read Revelation and Daniel. That was it. You know what I'm saying? And everything else in the Bible to me at that point was irrelevant, because I'm looking at it from, this is the end times. This is where I need to start. I need to figure out what's going on today. Not worried about the four Gospels and none of that. So I missed it. I missed it. I was a kid. I wasn't trained. Nobody taught me nothing, growing up. And, so finally went to prison, did that, came out, I'm moving too fast. Back to high school. Back to high school. I'm trying to explain a little bit more about the hip hop. I'm trying to keep this balance. But back to high school. Yeah, I was into the graffiti, into the poetry, started rapping. Even before I started rapping, I was in dancing. We used to do a lot of hip hop dancing, you know what I'm saying? Growing up in Inglewood Elementary, Stonewall Jackson Middle School, Colonial High School. And then we also did breakdancing. Breakdancing was very, very popular. Car clubs was very popular when I went to high school. Breakdancing was one of those things I wanted to get to. So I started learning how to break dance. Never did the spin on the head thing. You know what I'm saying? But I did break dance a little bit. Used to go out to the clubs, break dance clubs, hip hop clubs. Used to rap a bit. Finally got a chance to actually DJ. So I've done a little bit of all the elements. There's the b-boy, that's the breakdancing. There's the graffiti, the rapping, and I did some DJing. I was at with my man Livewire, and Holloway, my man DJ Lee Majors, when we were all at WPRK 91.5. That's Winter Park College Radio, which is cool because I grew up listening to that radio because it was playing underground music, and the stuff that was on the radio just wasn't cool to me. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't, after the Pac and Biggie thing, radio kind of died off to me and got really soft. But I was still a fan of the music. I'm that type of fan, you know what I'm saying? I don't got none around me, a CD around me. I'm the type of man that will, I would, I don't know about you. I'm the type of person, man. I was one of those dudes that I can remember clearly, you know what I'm saying, getting in the car, going down to the store on a Tuesday, because that's when Tuesdays when music come out, for those who don't know. Tuesday was when music came out. Movies came out on Fridays. Tuesdays music came out. I would go down to the Fashion Square Mall here in Orlando, and go right into the Fashion Square, look for whatever the CD is that was coming out, and I will, there's the plastic, wrap, bust over the plastic wrap. Now I would, rip it off, unfold the panel, you know what I'm saying? Put the CD in there. Don't even play it yet. Just put the CD in the car. You know what I'm saying? And just look through the credits. You got to be a real music fan to look through the credits. You're looking through the credits, not only for who the people, you know what I'm saying? If you're a real music fan like me, you know what I'm saying? You're looking at the dates, the date the album came out, the year the album came out. You're looking at the the producer, where the studio was mixed at. You know what I'm saying? That's this is Hit Factory. That's PD. That's Puff Daddy right there. That's P Diddy. You know what I'm saying? That's names. Oh, Dennis Cole. That's Ghostface. That's Ghostface. You know what I'm saying? Nasir Ben Oladollar Jones. That's Sean Carter. Sean Corey Carter. We know who that is. Ryan Montgomery. That's Royce the 5'9". We know who that is. Marshall Mathers. We know who that is. Andre Young. We know who that is. That's Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the kind of fan I was. I don't know about you. And then I would just sit back in the car, throw the music on, and I just feel it. Just especially I think it was the Blueprint. Jay-Z, when he came out with the Blueprint. You know what I'm saying? On that first song, The Rule Is Back, old school, he got that from Slick Rick. Slick Rick was my first favorite rapper. And then Nas, it was Slick Rick first, then EPMD, but it was Nas who kind of pushed me into the music. And he came out with the Blueprint, I just kind of laid back in the car and let the horns hit. And you know what I'm saying? The Rule Is Back, you know. And that was the kind of music fan that I was. You know what I'm saying? People could come out to me to be like, yo, when you can, I'm like a walking encyclopedia concerning, hip hop music as far as the secular side of it is, you know what I'm saying? Then, sooner or later, once I was in prison, it was 2004, 2005, 2004 is when I got locked up. I turned myself in. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even have a warrant for my arrest. You know what I'm saying? I just was told, I was on probation. I violated. Long story. Don't want to talk about it. www.ricardoquips.com/about You can read it. Violation of probation. Failure to complete. I think it was anger management or something like that. And but I finished the class. It's a long story. There was a mistake in the system. You know what I'm saying? They made a mistake and whatever. But I took the fall and went in and turned myself in. I was like, kept trying to turn myself in. Warrant in yet because my charges was in Tallahassee. So it takes a while for the warrant to come from Tallahassee to Orlando. And once you get if you're validated and you're on probation, coming from the state or the city that you did law, and they have to ship you back to the state that you were in or the city that you were in. So extradite. That's what the word I was looking for. But yeah, I turned myself in. Kept trying to turn myself in. I turned myself in with my Bible back there. I call it Old Faithful. I went in with the Bible. I came out with the same. I don't hardly ever use it because it's my Old Faithful. I mean, it's dusty. You mess around and you flip it wrong, it might disintegrate because it's old. It's inked up. It's cartooned up. It's crayoned up. It's color pencil. It's just written all over. There's notes everywhere. And the poor thing is like every other page is folded. You know what I'm saying? Some pages are folded 3 or 4 times. It looks like origami in there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? One day I'm gonna have to show you my Bible. Because when I was in prison for those 300 and it wasn't even a year. I did like 11 months and like 20 something days. I turned myself in July 15th or something and came out the next year, July 1st. So, 2005. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? I spent my time in there building on that. Remember, it was January 8th, 2005. Lord came to me, look, hey, I want you to continue. Because I had called my peeps from prison. Like, look, man, I'm not, we had already recorded mixtapes and albums. I was working with them. And I had already, made a decision in my heart, like, look, man, I can't even do the music. I called him, look, man, I'm not even, because at first I had never heard of Christian hip hop, so I had no influence. I'm like, look, I'm not even gonna try it. So they was like, go ahead. They was like, you could tell from my man's voice, is like, man, hush. Go on in there and write your stuff, because you write better during hard times. And they were like, sure, okay, we got you, but in their mind it was like he ain't, So I was like, man, I can't do it. I got profanity in the mouth, you know what I'm saying? I'm still, whatever. So sitting on the bunk. Again, this is on the About Ricardo page, and it's 2005, January 8th. God came to me. I was like, God, man, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to do this. The Lord was like, man, what you got in your hand? I think at the time I was reading the Call of Moses. It was Call of Moses. So what you got in, he came to Moses, what you got in your hand, Moses? Just a rod. So look, I'm going to use that rod and deliver to people. You know what I'm saying? The Lord said to me, it's like, what you got in your hand? You know, because I got pad and a pencil. I take notes from the Bible. Pad, pencil. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and write. I got you. I was like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Wrote the first song. First song was called Genesis. In the beginning, God created my pops and mama. I was born without phone, parents beefing with drama. God let there be light. Then I seen the light, came out of the darkness, darkened, nursing white. My birth that night, straight into curses despite. I didn't have a choice. I'm a sinner, that's right. From December 12th, 1978, the sorrows of this world, it heavily weighed on my heart, not my shoulder. It's dark, I told you, but not I. Jesus Christ, I'm just a soldier of the light. Bust the right, cause left's the wrong way. Got grown one day, drunk the strong J. Which led the wrong way to destruction. Deathbed and rushing, and it got dark quick. I started stumbling and mumbling something. I guess God heard me. I said, clean my evil ways. I'm so dirty. You know what I'm saying? And that's the first verse of the song. You know what I'm saying? I wrote the first verse for that song. And I ended up writing like 8 more songs. I wrote Genesis in the beginning. I wrote Exodus, which was the second song. I forgot how the verse goes in Exodus. The industry's evil. I forget how it goes, but it's old school. It's still old school. I'm gonna have to send y'all the link to it. You know what I'm saying? But I did Genesis, Exodus. I did a whole bunch of other songs, about 15 songs. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know what to call the album. I came across, I think it was 1 Samuel chapter 17. It was David. David was fighting Goliath. Was ready to fight Goliath. He hadn't fought Goliath yet. And I think there was this one statement in there that just kind of it just clicked in me. It just set me off. It was, David said this. It was so powerful. It just like shook me. You know what I'm saying? David said, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? And it was, I don't know, it was something about that verse that was so powerful to me. I don't know what it was, but I think it was from then on when my first ministry was called God's Armor Ministry, God's Armor Hip Hop Ministry. It was I named the first album, the first mixtape. The album was pushed back, and I put out the mixtape first. It's called God's Armor Mix CD Volume 1, and then I put out God's Armor the album, and then a couple years later I put out God's Armor Mix CD Volume 2, Acts chapter 29. You know what I'm saying? But again, you know, I put out I did the God's Armor song, and put out the God's Armor Soldier Stomp. You know, a lot of people have heard this when they was on the Seed of Faith tour back in 2007. But yeah, you know, that was what inspired me. I finished the album in maybe like 2 weeks, just written. You know what I'm saying? I still had like 6 more months to go in prison. Yeah, I was January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, I still had 6 more months. So from then on, I just kind of learning the songs, and then as I got out working with producers, I was trying to pick beats that would work with the songs. You know what I'm saying? And it came out. Later on, eventually on, hooked up with my man Loyal. A.K.A. Larry Hume, called himself Truce now. And we had formed, well, he had already formed a record label called Dead the Flesh Records. Most of y'all who are in the Facebook group, Dead the Flesh Records, the Facebook group, you know what I'm saying? That's what that group is. The label is kind of, I don't know what's going on with the label now. I kind of technically, I haven't, my heart is still with the label, but I technically left the label, you know what I'm saying? I kind of retired from doing music after I did the Messiah Christ, MC Disc 2, the Messiah Christ, the Last Revelation. That's hence the reason I called it the Last Revelation, because you know there was the Genesis and then Revelation, so it was the Last Revelation. That was the reason why I closed it off. But I'm actually coming out with 2 more discs, which collected because it's a 4 discs. It's the MC part Disc 1, the Master Constructor, MC Disc 2, the Messiah Christ, MC Disc 3, which is Manhood Crisis, MC Disc 4, which is called the Maestro Communicator. You know what I'm saying? But that's another thing. So, Dead the Flesh Records hooked up with Laura, hooked up with a lot of ill cats who was part of the label. You know what I'm saying? They left and gone. I was the only one who kind of stayed faithful and stayed on the label, you know, even in the tough times and the rough times. You know what I'm saying? I still stuck it through with Larry. Me and Larry, we have a history, which we, you know, in the beginning we didn't know about until he told me who his pops was, you know what I'm saying, which was DJ Jimmy Jams, who used to DJ for me when I was a little kid rapping in the Boys and Girls Club for the youth at middle school, you know what I'm saying? And so that was kind of a divine connection there, you know what I'm saying? His wife, his not his yeah, DJ Jimmy Jam's wife, but they're divorced now. His Larry's mom, I call her mom, you know what I'm saying? She calls me son, I call her mom. She's like a mom to me, you know what I'm saying? And Larry and his brothers are like brothers to me, you know what I'm saying? We haven't talked in a minute, and the man's busy. I'm really busy. Actually, we haven't talked in about a year. Um, but because he just the man's really busy. He got his work done running his own business, his own store. Um, so he's extremely busy. He just got his family, got married a couple of years ago, got 3 kids. You know what I'm saying? I got 3, 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? Some extras. And we did excuse this car's passing. I live actually by the highway. That's why I keep looking out the window. These cars keep passing by. People walking by the because I'm upstairs in an apartment. They're downstairs. So I'm just nosy. I'm being nosy. Uh, but yeah. We did the Flash Records label thing. INC. We are official. INC. Official INC. And See the Faith tour came around. You know what I'm saying? Hooked up with a lot of dope artists and in all kinds of genres. You know what I'm saying? There was Young Evangelist. I think he goes by R.E.A.L. Commissary. Lil Prophet and Real World Records was on the tour. Vast Remedy, Cisco Kid, Joe Bless, Nicodemus. We met all kinds of people. Finally I met my man Curtis Blow. When he came to Christ, I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? He sat us down and gave us some pointers when I was with him and carried us to the cross. You know what I'm saying? It was cool. We traveled all over the place. I was kind of the leader of the tour. I was the one organizing, booking all the shows. They were sending me all the artists I had like, look, you guys just get the shows. I'll call, I'll confirm, I'll set everything up. We'll arrange some kind of transportation. How we're gonna work this out. Get the information, get the time. We get down there. We had benefit concerts to kind of the first 2 shows. We kind of had benefits to raise money to get to where we needed to go. I told them, look, you guys make sure you bring your own products, your own CDs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if we wasn't really doing this for the money or trying to generate any kind of income or nothing like that. We just wanted to reach people for the Lord. That's what we called the Seed of Faith tour. We was out there planting seeds. We were like fishers of men. So other people additionally came on. LP, which is now I think called Israel. Melody, which is now Chile. We have the group The Prophet. My man Wendell and his boy Symphony. Goodness, I can't remember everybody. Vast Remedy, all 3 sisters. For those who know Vast Remedy, it was 2 sisters for a minute, and then the 3rd sister came back. So it was Vast Remedy, all 3 sisters at the time. There was a lot of other people. We bumped into a lot of people out there. God's Baby Girl and out there. We bumped into SoCom at an event. He came to an event once. I met a lot of artists of God out there, man. You know what I'm saying? It was cool. So after that happened, the Lord was calling me another direction. So I think it was when I signed up for Full Sail University. I wanted to do something. I wanted to work from a more professional side, a more business side, a more leadership role rather than being an artist. That was hence the reason why I retired. Because as I was coming to the end of Full Sail, I wanted to kind of stop the artist side of it because I wanted to mentor and help the next generation. And again, I'm 35. I mean, I'm not saying you could be 50 and still be rocking shows. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? But I felt the need more to make more disciples, so therefore I kind of stepped behind the scene. You know what I'm saying? That's why I went to Full Sail University. You know what I'm saying? I started Ricardo Butler's Artistic Leaders, or R.E.A.L, LLC. You know what I'm saying? It was a music ministry, music business development, and also opening. If you've seen this video, as I'm recording this video, it's only April 19th. So Mayo, Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo is the official opening of the Fivefold Davidical School of Hip Hop Ministry and Kingdom Music Business. You know what I'm saying? Help artists out a little bit, do some coaching and some music business consulting, help them out with their marketing strategies. From a biblical standpoint, everyone who knows me, I do everything wrong. I'm gonna quote Bible verses in your marketing plan. You come to me, you want a marketing plan, you're gonna get scriptural proof for your marketing plan. I'm not just gonna give you up a marketing plan that I've seen these other internet marketers out here do. You know what I'm saying? Every principle that the world has, we got it multiplied by the Spirit and the anointing and the wisdom of God on top of that. You know what I'm saying? So you see me teaching how to build a website. You're going to see me teaching how to build a website and use scripture to show you why you need to build it this way. That's how I do it. You know what I'm saying? But again, David has been a huge influence to my calling. You know what I'm saying? When I moved into the apostolic, catch you up to speed. I was an evangelist before the Seed of Faith tour. While I was in prison, I was an ordained evangelist in the prison because I was so. I signed up for Evangelism Explosion. I was one of the level 1, level 2, and then I moved on to the level 3. The highest level is the level 4 trainer, ordained. I still got my certificate back there, my ordination back there. You know, in the room. Evangelist. Went out and but a lot of people didn't know that because I didn't want to flip that around and use that when we did the Seed of Faith tour. Eventually went into pastoring. So for those who know, I've walked in all of the fivefold ministry, pastored 2 churches, pastored at City of Praise, Mike Assembly, the church I founded, Mike Assembly, Hip Hop Fellowship of Orlando. I had a little bit of help from a boy in Tampa, my boy Pastor Tommy, a.k.a. Urban D. He came through. He was like, yo, you need help? Let me know. Help me out a little bit. Gave me some tips. Then I went into teaching. You know what I'm saying? That's hence the reason the fivefold Grammatical school teaching. And I was in the prophetic for a minute. For those who know, I was obviously prophetic. And I moved into Apostolic on a Apostolic Movement International, Leslie Krause. Apostle Leslie Krause and Apostle Colette Toach. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. I always mess up her last name. You know what I'm saying? Ordained apostle, not by them, though trained by them, but here in Orlando by the local apostles here in Orlando. You know what I'm saying? Because they were in like San Diego or Mexico when I was under them. You know what I'm saying? So started the Mike Assembly, the Grammatical Arts Network. We were training ministry leaders. You know, I had stepped out of music just to kind of function in the church. Lord was like, look, you're out of your call, and he brought me back into the music side. Hence the reason I went to Full Sail. I went to Full Sail not to learn music industry, music business. You know, though that was the program that I took. I went from the mentality of Moses going into Egypt. You know what I'm saying? The Bible says that Moses learned in all the ways of the Egyptian, which during that time was the best education there was. So I went into Full Sail like as if Moses went into Egypt, learning all the customs of the music industry. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to learn how the system worked a little bit. Certain things that I didn't know about the music industry that I wanted to know about the music industry. You know what I'm saying? So I went in there to learn how that all worked, but wasn't working the way I like it. I was reading some of those books and I was shocked. I was like, wow, this is the music industry? It's like, nah, man, there's a better way than this. Look through the Bible, and Spirit revealed to me King David was the ultimate old covenant foreshadow of Christ, first and foremost, but a very the best example of what a music. He literally created a music industry for God. I mean, he set up order and priest, and he had musicians around the tabernacle. And when Solomon built the temple, they were ministering with music. And generations after that, they were like, look, we're doing this the way David did it, and Asaph and Shenaniah and Ethan the prophet and who else? Heman and all the other music ministries, and that was just the way it was done. You know what I'm saying? And though I believe that as Adam was the first Adam, Christ is the last Adam. I believe all the Old Testament characters are the first of themselves. Like there's a first David, and Jesus Christ is the last David. That's how I kind of look at it. But whatever Christ wants to do, latter house is more glorious than the former. The way he did it in the old will not be the way he does it today. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a little more greater glory and a little more greater anointing than what he wants to do in the music industry among us today. But I see in the music industry, my burden with the music industry today, the music ministry is today, is it's just getting cast to see what God wants to really do in the music industry. You know what I'm saying? Again, there's nothing wrong with looking back to David, you know what I'm saying? But because he's just a shadow, it's a foreshadow. Christ is the reality, you know what I'm saying? But what Christ wants to do is new stuff. That the Bible talks about singing new songs, stuff like that. But, and he talks about drawing from the well, you know what I'm saying? The spirit, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the stuff we need to draw from needs to come from that. You know what I'm saying? My blogs all come from that. My coaching, my training, my teaching. You know what I'm saying? But the thing that I want to impart mostly, the thing I most impart the most in there is being salt and light. And I'm not talking about just preaching. I'm talking about being leaders. My focus is leaders. Hence the reason why my business is called Ricardo Equips Artistic Leaders, or real leaders. Not only just leaders, but servant leaders, fivefold leaders. I want to impart the apostolic, the prophetic, the teaching, the path. Hence the reason I think why Jesus had brought me through all five of them. You know what I'm saying? He was like, look, I'm teaching you all five of these in the church. But when you go, that's why I believe he took me out of music for a while to minister in the church in leadership roles. And then he was like, okay, now we're going to take you out of the church. I want you to take what you learned out of the church in the fivefold and now apply it to the music industry. You know what I'm saying? And I was, and I looked through the scriptures like, man, but is there such thing as a fivefold music ministry? You know what I'm saying? I had to look through the Bible and I found it. You know, if those who have heard of it, I've already talked about this. I preached this a lot. King David was the apostle. Ethan was the prophet. The Bible says he prophesied with the heart. Shananiah, the Bible says he instructed. He was the teacher. There was Haman, but he said he had 14 sons and 3 daughters. He was a pastor. He was feeding them with the word, it says. And then there was Asaph, the recorder. He witnessed. He was the one giving off the glory of God. He was the one that was, recorded, was testifying. He was writing down. He was a witness. He was the evangelist. And I found the fivefold music ministry, and then I just changed it from music to hip hop because I don't want to focus on fivefold music ministry, and then I'd have to train all the different genres. I wanted to focus on one genre, so I changed the term music ministry to hip hop, so I can just focus on hip hop. Again, if you're listening to this and you're from any other music, genre, nothing wrong with that. The principles apply. Whether if you the fivefold rock and roll, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying. The foundation is music ministry, and then after that, the branches are the genres, the different genres: hip hop, R&B, reggae, R&P, rhythm and praise. You know what I'm saying? All the genres are just branches off the foundation of it being music. It's music, regardless of what genre it is. People argue, hip hop can't be in the church. It's music. The foundation is music. It doesn't matter what all the other branches are. It doesn't matter. They didn't lock jazz. There's classical. It's all music. Make a new song. If I do a hip hop song, it's still a what song? It's not important about what the genre is. The principles apply no matter the genre. You get what I'm saying? So the Lord had called me to put together the fivefold developmental school of hip hop ministry, and because my brothers are struggling, we have a hard time. I went through the time, and the Lord brought me to a point. Was like, okay, now it's time to turn back around and help some more people. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, let's do that. The Lord had led me in that direction. Excuse me, I'm checking my clock. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got a lot of books back here. We make kids read. Kids always read, and I read a lot too. So this is only one section of the book. We got a whole nother 3 or 4 more cases in the back. We read a lot in this house. Maybe I might read you some Dr. Seuss in a minute. You know what I'm saying? Because Dr. Seuss is a rapper. What's wrong with you? Now, back to the point. So I just wanted to help some brothers out. But I'm coming up on 43 minutes on the video. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to talk so long. I just want to share a little bit about, my past in the music. But now let's get into a little bit about the future. I don't want to spend a lot of time on the future. Again, I love my boys over there at Dead to Flesh Records. You know what I'm saying? All who served and who has served and will serve if they decide to start back up. You know what I'm saying? But, I feel the Lord is calling me to do something different. I've been hearing this burden on my heart. It's a tug, Usually when I know one of the signs that I know God is talking to me is when I don't want to do it. That's when I know when God wants me to do something. When I don't want to do it is when I know He's calling me to do it. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever noticed in the Bible, whenever God came up to someone and called them to do something, like Moses, whatever, they had every other reason why they didn't want to do it? It's like, I'm going to do it. Look, man, my mouth, I can't speak. Who am I? Lord, that you should, you know what I'm saying? No, just send my brother. Send Aaron. He can talk better than me. Send somebody. Why me? You know what I'm saying? Gideon. Gideon was hiding. He was like, it's King Saul hiding in the luggage. Like, nah, I don't want to be the king. You know what I'm saying? People just want you hot. That's the reminder of the parable. The parable that most resonates with me is the parable of the two sons. Jesus tells the parable. He said, "Look, man, it was his father had two sons. Asked the first son, hey, look, I want you to go out there to the vineyard. First son was like, nah, man, I'm not gonna do that, and then walked off. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And several late minutes, maybe days, who knows how long it was, came back and said, and then he went back and he did it. Second son, I want you to go into the vineyard. Second son was like, yeah, I'll do it. And some time later, he didn't do it. Turned to the Pharisees, said, hey, which one of the sons did the will of the Lord? They said the first son. Said, pimps, hustlers, and prostitutes went into the kingdom before you. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, and that's me. I'm that type of person. When Jesus comes to me and he wants me to do something, 9 times out of 10, I'm not trying to hear that. I'm like, nah, man. I got this over here, Lord. You want me to do? I got this over here, Lord. You want me to do? I got this. You want me to do? You know what I'm saying? Lord, and so this is the thing, you know. I've only talked to a handful of people, maybe 2 or 3 people. I don't even think I told my wife this yet. My wife probably don't even know about this. I told other 2 people that that are in the circle with me and my wife. I haven't even told my wife about it yet because it's seed. I don't know. And the Lord was like, look, man, he's been telling me, just pulling my heart to start a record label. You know what I'm saying? People always been pushing that on me. All like, look, you done graduated from Full Sail with a bachelor's degree in music business and entrepreneurship. When you gonna start a record label? Uncles come up to me, when you gonna start a record label? People come up, when you gonna start a record label? I'm like, man, I'm trying to do the record label thing, man. I don't want to do the record label thing. You know what I'm saying? So, Lord telling me, look, hey, man, I want you to do this record label thing. I'm the son, first son. Man, I ain't trying to hear that. There's all kinds of record labels out here in Christ. You know what I'm saying? You got Octavia Harris, they got their thing. You got Cross Movement. You got Lamp Mode. Man, why I got to do one? Why I got to do one? I don't need to do one. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, no, I want you to do something different with your record label. There's 2 sides to your record label that I want you to do. He said it's clear as day. I know what he said, but I just don't want to do it. But I'm confessing it. You know what? A lot of my mentors and leaders, they tell me, look, if you want to hold yourself accountable to doing the will of God, you must confess publicly to people what God has called you to do. That way, the people who hear about it hold you accountable. Now I'm gonna put this video on YouTube. You're gonna hear it, and now you're gonna be like, hey, Ricardo, when you gonna start the record label? I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So now I got no choice but to do it because I've publicly confessed it, so now I got to keep it. Or I'll be like the man who said he started to build and he didn't have all the things he needed to build, and then all the people mocked and laughed at him because he didn't have sufficient to build. So, but the 2 things he told me to do with this label is different. He said, look, one, it's a dual side to this label. One, I want it to be an online and an offline label. Same record label, but 2 different teams. It's almost 2 different labels, but it's the same label. You're gonna have an online, all digital record label of artists that don't even sit in the same city. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna build this team of artists and different skills, and they're gonna be 5-fold. These are not on the physical, pure music level. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be gifted, talented in the music. They're gonna be skilled. But they're going to have many other various skills. They're going to be graphic design. They're going to cover areas, all that you need for the success. Some of them might know how to build websites. 1 or 2 of them might be able to finance this. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't got the money for this. This is God's plan. You're going to finance it some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? So this is how we're going to do it. That's purely online. First ever online digital label. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when he says totally online, if the artists decide in their local area to do shows in the name of the label, whatever. But it's an all online digital label. We might make shows and videos and everything purely digital. You know what I'm saying? You don't come to the show. You come to YouTube and you come see the show. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. We sell only digital products. You know what I'm saying? You want merchandise, you're going to have to order it online. That's what it is. So he said, that's how they're gonna be fivefolds. And then he said, then he took it to the spiritual level. Now on the spiritual level, you're an apostle. So guess what? These people are also going to be spiritual children of you. So you're not just picking regular artists or any kind of body. You can put out a call and have a whole bunch of people come in and say, hey, look, I want to be part of record label. But no, you got to do this the way I did it, the way Jesus did it. I prayed on the mountain for a long time, and then the Lord gave me the 12 names that He wanted. See, it's 12 people. There's only 12 people going to be on this digital label. 12. I mean, we might have other people that are helping. Like there was, all the other disciples, the 70, and then there was the women that kind of traveled with Jesus. But there's only 12 officials, blood-sealed covenant on the label. That's it. Counting me. Counting me. That means there's 12. Jesus is one, and then I'm the 12th one. So there's only 11 spots. You get what I'm saying? Jesus is still Jesus in this group of 12 people. I'm not Jesus in this 12 people, and there's 12 other people around me. That makes us 13. Plus Jesus. No, it's Jesus and 12 people, and I'm one of the 12. You know what I'm saying? It's that's how it is. And then he was like, look, I want you to also do a local version of the same label. So that means you're gonna have to these sons and daughters. You're gonna have some sons and daughters here in Orlando. You're gonna have to find some local Orlando artists, and we're gonna y'all on the local level. Y'all are gonna actually do some shows. You're gonna go into some venues and some schools. You're gonna hit the streets. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, in my back of my mind, I'm like, man, how long is this gonna take? Like 10 years? You know what I'm saying? I don't know how long it is before the Lord come back, but this might take 10 years. I'll give my 10 more years of my life to this. I'm already 35. I would be 45. You know what I'm saying? But as He said to the Pharisees, which one did the will of the Lord? The first one, pimps, prostitutes, and I was an ex-president criminal. I guess I fall in the category with them dudes, and pimps and prostitutes and them whores and them tax collectors and sinners. I was sitting with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Because I've already talked it. I publicly confessed it. Now I got to do it, right? I got to do it now, right? I got to do it. So that's what we're gonna do, man. We're still gonna be rocking with Ricardo Equips, artistic leaders at www.ricardoequips.com, and we're still gonna be rocking with the Fivefold Davidical School of Hip Hop Ministry and Kingdom Music Business. You can check that out at www.ricardoequips.com/hip hop school. One word: HIPHOPSCHOOL. Hip Hop School. Or you can go to the actual domain name is fivefolddavicalschool.ricardoequips.com, but nobody's going to remember that. So just go to ricardoequips.com/hip hop school. Or go to ricardoequips.com and then go to the tab where it says Fivefold Davidical School and click it, and it will redirect you to the website. Sorry, I need to shave. That's why I keep grabbing my face itching because I need to shave. I'm sorry, but hey, if you know me personally, I like to have a lot of fun. People are like, what kind of apostle is this guy? I'm creative, very funny, I'm a funny dude. A lot of people say I should have went into comedy, but I don't know. I make a lot of people laugh. A lot of people say I should have. A lot of people say, hey, look. See, that's what I need. I need to make a video of the top 10 things people said I should have did. Oh, you know what? You should have been a pastor. People always say, hey, you need to be a pastor. You need to be start a record label. You need to go into comedy. You're going to be a leader. Those are probably the top 4 things I can think of off the top of my mind that people have said that I would be a great dad, great husband. Not saying I'm a horrible one right now. But hey, I fail. I make mistakes too. Lord forgive me. Lord got grace, stands me up. Just man falls 7 times. Right hand of the Lord upholds him, lifts him up. You know what I'm saying? Humility is how elevation happens. Going lower is how you go higher. But that's what it is, man. I haven't really came up with a name for the label. At the moment, the only thing I'm kind of that's on my mind is Real Music Records, Real Music Group. I don't know what I'm gonna call it. R.E.A.L, like my Ricardo Equips artistic leaders, but the real won't The acronym won't be Ricardo Clips, artistic leaders, music records. That's not what it means. The acronym will stand for something else. I actually wrote down some notes somewhere. I don't know what I did with it. What the Lord was, He just started dropping words to, for what it meant. I wrote it down somewhere. When the Lord gives me something and I'm doing something somewhere, I always keep a notepad on me and I write stuff down. You know what I'm saying? That's how I come up with a lot of ideas for videos. This one was a random spirit, just like, hey, get in front of the camera. And plus, another reason why I got in front of the camera, a lot of people like to see me. They're like, look, man, why don't you do any videos? We always see keynotes and PowerPoints. We want to see your face, bruh. I'm like, okay. Get on the camera with my face a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that's about it. So, yeah, we got R.E.A.L music. R.E.A.L music, which is a double meaning to that, as the Lord was giving me. He was like, R.E.A.L music. First is R.E.A.L music because it's God's music. That's R.E.A.L music. There's no R.E.A.L music. I don't care how bad the music is if it's Christian, though, because a lot of people talk about, oh, Christian music is just horrible. Some of the music that the hip hop has came out with. So, it's getting better. I've heard some fire stuff out there lately, and the beats are getting better, the lyrics are getting better, the production, the quality, the sound is getting better. It's just getting better. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy for that. It's about time. You know what I'm saying? Now you're giving people, Christians that are youth in the church, a better reason why to buy you over, let's say, T.I. or 50 Cent or somebody. You know what I'm saying? Now they got a reason. Give them a reason. Let the, you know what I'm saying? My mentor, Apostle Les D. Krause, taught me this once. He said, it was one of the most memorable lessons he taught me. He says, how do you get a young kid, a 3-4-year-old kid, how do you get a 3-4-year-old kid to put down a knife? I was like, I don't know, ask him for it. Because if you freak out, the kid might run with it, he might cut himself, he might hurt himself, he might hurt you with the knife. He was like, give him a lollipop, and he'll drop the knife and he'll reach out like a baby or a kid for the lollipop. That's how you gotta be. That's how you gotta consider yourself in the music. That's what Jesus did. When Jesus was like, look, you have heard from old, he would give them the old covenant, and then he said, but now I say unto you the new covenant. What he was doing was he was showing what the old covenant is. In the old, it says you shall hate your enemy. But under the new covenant, I tell you, you must love your enemies. Bless them. He was like, look, drop the knife, pick up the king. Not saying that the gospel is sugar sweet or all feel good. It ain't feel good gospel. This ain't, it ain't feel good. But it's more. The point is to make it more appealing. You have to show the benefits. Jesus showed the benefits of the kingdom. He didn't just say, hey, look, I want you to serve me. He said, look, if you serve me, you get to sit next to me. You get to wear crowns. He blessed is the peacemaker because he will see God's, or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? He always, every promise that he gave, you know what I'm saying, concerning drawing people away from the old covenant to new covenant came with some benefit, or he showed some kind of benefit. What's in it for me? Well, if I do this, Jesus, what are you going to do for me? He always did this. Look, hey, for those who forsake moms and pops and fathers and houses, I will give you what? 100-fold more. He always did that. Always did that. You will not find a time where he did not give a benefit for turning away from the old covenant or the old life or from sinful life or whatever it is of your past for the new life. There's not no time, not never, nowhere. Never nowhere. He's always attaches an award or reward or some kind of recognition to it. Always. He always does that. Because he knows we'll bite for that. He created us to want the recognition from him. You know what I'm saying? It's another thing that when the world gives you these things, but it's that stuff that Jesus gives is incorruptible. You know what I'm saying? We running for incorruptible crowns. You know what I'm saying? Victor's crowns and martyr's crowns, and there's nothing like that on this planet. So, same with you when you preach the gospel. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, we coming up on the last 30 seconds. I'm gonna have to cut this short. I wanted this to be exactly an hour. That was my heart on it. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, as the Lord reveals, I might get on a little video, do a little video vlogs like this. This is probably the longest one you're gonna see. This kind of lay the foundation. But everything after that is going to be really short ones, you know, hopefully 5-10 minute videos about what the Lord shared on my heart. All right. Hey, I love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in, spending this little hour with me. May the Lord bless you 30-fold, 60-fold, 100-fold, in Jesus' name. By the power of the Holy Spirit. Catch you next time. Peace.